Okay, I'd like to call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting of January 21st. If we could do the Pledge of Allegiance first, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get the roll call, please.
Commissioner McConnell.
Here.
Commissioner Tomian.
Here.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Here.
Commissioner Dunn.
Here.
Commissioner Rushing. Commissioner Bohm. Commissioner Greatop.
Here. Any additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda, gentlemen? Seeing none? Howard?
I would move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Support. Moved and supported. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Minutes of previous meetings.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the minutes of the December 10th, 2015 regular commission meeting, the January 7th, 2016 standing committee meeting, and the revised December 3rd, 2015 environmental/public works meeting be approved and filed.
Support. I have a motion and support. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. We have one proclamation for Thomas Jeanette for years of service. He's the gentleman that was on the council in Ira Township that just recently passed away. We have signed a proclamation, and Commissioner Rushing is going to deliver that to the family, so we'll save the reading of that. On the consent agenda, items A through...
Wait, we need to adopt the resolution. And I will move it.
Support.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you, gentlemen. On the consent agenda, we're going to remove item G, notice of proposed railroad communication structures. There's a couple of questions, and we're going to turn that over to a specialist to get us some answers for the next meeting. Other than that, A through K minus G then.
I would move that we accept items 7A through K minus G on the consent agenda.
Support. Okay, I have a motion and two supports. Anybody want to talk about anything on the agenda? I would like to pull out one piece, and that would be item F, Certificate of Achievement Excellence in Financial Reporting. I believe that award was won by our own Carrie Hepting again this year for a super job, so I would like to say, Carrie, great job. We really appreciate what you do and the way you do it, and the professional way you do it, and everything else that goes along with that. Earl?
Mr. Chair, I think it's a very important recognition, because we really have, the outside experts, the governmental finance officers of the United States of America. You have to meet, rigorous standards to receive this award, and I think it speaks very highly of Carrie and our financial staff, and even of our own financial management. This is a completely objective source that's looking at how we budget and how we manage our finances, and receiving this certificate, I think, is wonderful for our county and our citizens.
Very good. Howard?
And I think in light of that, the fact that our bond rating has been increased, and we've been able to rebond a number of our loans at a number of our bonds at a lower rate, saving, I think, $150,000 on the jail bond and $1.2 million. And how much on this facility when we redid this? Do you have that off the top of your head?
It's about $100,000 the last time we've done this, which was.
But it's only for what, 8 or 9 years? But it's still a sizable savings.
Excellent. Anybody else?
I have a comment. I haven't had an opportunity to work along with you, Carrie, but from what I can see, you're overly qualified for your position, so thank you for everything you do for us.
Very good. Okay. All right, so we have a motion on the floor for the consent agenda. And supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Report of standing and special committees. Let's start with Duke down this way.
Nothing.
Nothing, take a pass. Let's go all the way down to the end.
Nothing.
I have
Carl?
nothing this evening.
Nothing?
One item. I
Rushing wins the bet
had the
again.
good fortune of going down to the auto show. If you haven't, I would encourage you to do that. But what,
Did you go yesterday?
no, today. What caught my attention, when we walked in the main hall, they had the Pure Michigan sign up, and guess who was next and working the Pure Michigan booth? Our own Blue Water Visitor and Convention Center.
Oh, no kidding.
Kara was there, and she said they were handing out brochures and flyers and information,
Uh-huh.
and she said she was hustling just to keep them going.
Good enough.
They were flying off.
Hey, that's great, great news. All right. I thought for sure you went yesterday.
Yeah, no, didn't go yesterday.
All right. Carl, you said nothing?
That's
Nothing?
correct.
I just wanted to, it's not a committee report, but I just wanted to fill you in that if you're not familiar with the city of Algonac, they have a Lions Field down there. It's called the Lions Field. It's about 6.5 acre park that the Lions sold to them about 11 years ago, and it's kind of been sitting dormant. Not much has been happening there, other than the revamping of the pool. But I just want to let you know that the city of Algonac just got a $100,000 grant from Federal Land and Water Conservation Fund, and they're going to match that with $120,000 of their own money. And with that money, they're going to rebuild and expand the parking lot, put a turnaround in there. They're going to demolish the existing basketball and tennis courts. They're going to put up a new regulation basketball court, ice skating rink, like they have in Clay Township, where the cement is poured and it's kind of raised up with curbs, so that in the winter you flood it, freeze it, skate on it, and then in the summer you play basketball on it. They're going to do that. Picnic tables, pavilions, benches, grills, things like that. A walking path through the entire 6.5 acres, very similar to what Clay has done with their park, if you've seen theirs. And they hope to have that done in the fall of 2016. And the only other thing I wanted to mention, and I was just talking to a couple of guys here about it, the bridge to Harson's Island has resurrected itself again, and the Detroit Bridge Company is in the process of applying for permits again from DEQ and everybody else that they need to apply from in order to build this bridge. This particular bridge is going to span about a little over 1,000 feet across the river, and there will be 12 pilings in the water, cement pilings or pylons in the water, and then a 150-foot center opening bascule bridge that will be manned. 30 feet of height. If you have a boat that's no more than 30 feet, you can get under the bridge anywhere. And this is going to cost millions and millions and millions of dollars with private money. And 1,000 people that live on the island are going to pay for that somehow.
Have they discussed the monetary impact?
Yes and no. It's privately built, privately owned, privately financed, and his money for building it will come back through tolls. The ferry charges $8 round trip. If he charges more than that, they'll take the ferry. If he charges less than that, maybe they'll use the bridge, I don't know. But I was talking to a construction guy I know and said 12 million might be a small figure to put that bridge up. And at $8 a car with 1,000 homes on the island, I think it would take you, what do we figure?
Our life.
2 centuries to pay for it. So I'm not sure, where it's going, but there'll be a public hearing in March. I'll be at it. I'll let you know when it is. If anybody else is interested in attending, it's just something else that's on the radar. Keep an eye on.
Sounds like a project that probably won't get the GFOA award.
Okay. Moving on. Are there any citizens wishing to address the Board of Commissioners this evening?
Yes, I
Okay, I need did you fill out a card over there?
No, I do not.
Okay, go ahead and take the podium, and when you're done, please, fill out a card. It's on that table over there, and bring it up to me. And at the podium, go ahead and just state your name and why you're here. And I think the Sergeant at Arms will tell you you've got
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Okay. My name is James Leach. I've spoken with you a couple times, Mr. Greatop, regarding an issue that I'm having. Currently renting a home on River Road in Cottreville Township, and there are 2 abandoned septic tanks in the yard. There's 2 houses on the property, and they are caving in. They've fatigued, the top's fallen in on one, the side's fallen in on the other. There's holes large enough for a child to fall into, or a pet. And I have been trying to deal with the landlord for 6 months on this issue, not getting anywhere, and I've contacted the health department back in September, and after about 30 days, I got somebody out, looked at it, agreed that, this is a serious, hazard, having these gaping holes in the yard, especially 3 young children on the property. And I advised him at that point that the landlord has tried 6 times to patch these up with bags of dirt and, not to do it properly, by no means, and he agreed. And he informed me at that time that he was going to send her a letter, give her 30 days to have them properly abandoned, according to, how St. Clair County abandoned septic tanks. Well, I don't know, 40 days went by, I started making phone calls, I got a hold of Mr. Greatop. He told me that everything had been signed off on and the work had been completed. Well, I live there and nobody did any work at all. And so he had given me a number to Steve, something other at the health department. I contacted him. He said, yeah, the work's been done. I said, no, it's not. We live here, nobody's done nothing. And we went back and forth. I took pictures, sent it to him. My problem is nothing has been done. They told me that they have been fixed and it's been signed off on. And I've tried calling Mr. Greatop 4 or 5 times. I can't get in touch with him anymore. I've called the health department. They're not returning my calls. I got a hold of somebody locally through the township. They sent out the DPW. They concluded that yes, there are 2 abandoned septic tanks there that are caving in. There's huge holes. It's a huge, big hazard. And I don't know where it stands right now, but I can't get anybody to return my calls. And I was wondering if, where should I go from here? Who should I contact? Am I contacting the right person, or should I be contacting somebody else because I'm just not getting any results?
Thank you. We will take that up, and your time is up.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Leach.
Yep.
Please fill out a card over there off that table and then just drop it up at the desk here, please.
Okay.
All right, any unfinished business? I don't see any. And let's go to new business then, item 11A, that would be the EDA presentation with the 2016 goals. I don't see Mr. Casey here, so we'll just kind of slide past that for the time being. If he shows up, we'll come back to it. So let's jump to,
Did we have an agenda item for that?
I don't have anything in mind.
I didn't receive anything at my
Yeah.
desk this evening either.
All I had was that he was going to present his 2016 goals. That was the only piece I had.
Okay.
So, all right, item 11B then is the approval of county disbursements, November and December 2015. Can we do those both at once?
Mr. Chair, I would move the approval of the county disbursements for November 2015 in the amount of $12,842,510.45, and for the December 2015 in the amount of $9,545,576.86.
Support.
I have a motion to support. Any discussion on the motion there? Hearing none, all in favor? Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Dunn.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. Item 11C, the St. Clair County Community Foundation grant approval for letter of support.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Health Department's request for the St. Clair County Community Foundation grant application to support and improve the St. Clair County Early Childhood Hub in the amount of $20,000 and to write a letter of support.
Support.
Okay, a motion and support. Any discussion on that particular grant? Any questions about it? Okay, hearing none then, let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. All right, let's go to 11D, that's the 2016 Dispatch Training Funds Grant Application.
I would move to approve the 2016 dispatch training grant application in the amount of $20,000.
Second?
Motion and a support, discussion on that particular grant request. Roll call?
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. Item 11E, the Coastal Zone Management Program Blue Ways of St. Clair County Plan.
Mr. Chair, I would move the approval of the Coastal Zone Management Program, Blue Ways of St. Clair County Strategic Plan Grant Application, the amount of $17,520, and to approve Resolution 1601 authorizing the grant application.
Support.
I have a motion to support. Any discussion on this item? Lori Eschenberg was here 2 weeks ago and explained it all to us, so. Okay, roll call?
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. Item 11F, the Employment Agreement Equalization Director for Kay Hill.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the employment agreement with K. Greg Hill, Equalization Director, with an effective date term of 2/1/16 through 7/31/17.
Support.
Okay, a motion to support. This has been discussed also. Is there any other clarification or anything that anybody needs? All right, let's do a roll call on this one also.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. Item 11G, Prosecuting Attorney Manning Table Request.
Chairman Greatop, I would move to approve the prosecuting attorney reclassification request to remove the classification of legal stenographer and replace it with clerk 3 positions to assist with standardizing positions and job descriptions within the court system.
Support.
Okay, a motion to support. Any questions or discussions on this? I think we talked about this at our committee meetings the other day, and this is kind of lining up with what the court has already done. So it's probably a good move to see that done. Whatever cost is comes out of his budget, so. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item 7H, rescission of Resolution 1555 Collective Bargaining Agreement Ratification for District Court.
Chairman Greatop, I move that we rescind Resolution 15-55 Collective Bargaining Agreement ratification with the District Court.
Second?
I have a motion to support. Any questions on why this is being done? Anybody need any clarification on it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Item 11I, the Fort Gratiot Park Beach Engineering Agreement.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the Park and Recreation request for the Fort Gratiot Beach Engineering Agreement with Tetra Tech in the amount of $28,000.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion to support. You also have some handouts in front of you that Mark Brochu passed out today. If you've had a chance to look at those, I see Mark is in the audience also. If anybody would like a clarification over and above what we talked about at last meeting or what's in front of us on paper.
Yeah. If I could just comment.
Sure.
About, in the last few years, we've had unusually, I think, high lake levels. And as a result, we've had some erosion along the beach there that is threatening some of the structures that we put in at Fort Gratiot County Park. So essentially, trying to determine what is the best way to, make sure that those structures aren't harmed should the lake level continue to rise and we get a nor'easter that kicks up some big waves.
Okay. Any other discussions or questions? Anything for Mark, anybody? We can take a few minutes and look at that paper if you want. we're a little ahead of schedule today. I do know that, I think, Mark, you took pictures and sent them out at one point, and if you noticed in the pictures, the beach had pretty well eroded itself all the way up to the cement pad that is poured, well, that must be 100 feet from the water?
The ceremony plaza is probably less than 30,
Okay,
or from that drop off.
right, so.
From the high water line.
So I guess what we're looking for, Mark, why don't you jump up there for just a second, if you don't mind? I think what we're looking for is something in the terms of maybe a longer-term agreement, or a longer-term solution to, we can't just dump sand there and.
Well, in the handout I gave you, Tetra Tech did a preliminary presentation to the Park Commission and listed 5 options for dealing with the issue. Option 1 is to do nothing and see what happens, so. And then there's 2 bigger ledger sheets that show options 3 and 4. As a result of that discussion with the Park Commission, there was discussion about blending a couple of the options to keep it as economical as possible. And since then, the Tetra Tech has been trying to bounce ideas off the Corps of Engineers, or the DEQ. Whatever we do requires a joint application with the Corps of Engineers and the DEQ. So Tetra Tech is responsible for working with the county to come up with an option that they have preliminary indication from the DEQ and Corps that they'll sign off on. So at this point, no decision has been made on what option, and we're certainly not ready to ask you to agree to the option, but wanted to get you in the loop so that in February, hopefully February, maybe March, we'll be back with you with a recommendation, and Tetra Tech probably do a presentation for you.
So we'll see the final design then, Mark?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure we're going to see a final design as much as which one of these options might be the most reasonable to take.
I'm not looking for the plans,
Yeah.
but a final concept.
Yeah.
Right.
As to which one of the options here makes the most sense.
Mark, are there funds budgeted for this work?
Yep.
Are there funds budgeted for this work?
There's some money in the budget, but we have a fund balance to cover these kind of projects. We're not making commitments to other projects until we see what this project's gonna cost.
Thank you.
I would say, other than our obligation to buy the 2 small parcels with the DNR grants that you have previously approved, the beach is the next biggest next highest priority, in the sense that we always want safety of park users and protecting county assets, so.
Looks like we're looking at maybe 100,000 on the low end to $1.5 to $2.5 million, depending on which option we go with.
Correct. And that was why the discussion of blending a couple of the options to bring the cost down, to protect the most at-risk structure, and then a less costly solution for the balance of the beach.
This is one of our most used parks, an awful lot of swimming and picnicking, and it's just a well-used park. I know your pavilions are gone for next summer already, probably, if you've already started.
You know, every Saturday in the summer's been booked for the ceremony plaza, so it's very popular.
So we do need to protect those assets. This 28,000 is strictly for engineering.
28,000 just for the Tetra Tech services.
Any other questions for Mark? Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I believe we have a motion on the floor. In a second, so let's do roll call vote.
Commissioner Heidemann,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell,
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian,
Yes.
Chairman Greatop.
Yes. All right, administrators report. Mr. Kaufman?
One thing I was going to mention was the CAFR report and the award that Carrie received, but you've taken care of that, so we'll move on. I've talked with a number of you about developing goals for 2016 and 2017, including a list of specific projects. Administration continues to work on that. We did receive input from most all of the county departments with a list of their goals. We've also received goals from the Metropolitan Planning Commission that will be incorporated into the county's master plan after they've been reviewed and gone through a public review process, but we at least have an idea what the preliminary goals are. We've gotten a copy of the Community Foundation goals, the EDA's goals, Blue Meets Green goals, and we're working to incorporate all of those into one uniform set of goals that we can then present to the board, that you can discuss and debate and finally agree this is what we're going to focus on. I expect that you'll be presented with a list of true goals as well as a list of specific projects or tasks, some of which we've talked about in the past. Some are kind of hanging on and they continue as we work on them. But those we hopefully will be presenting and discussing in February. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Related to that, both the Metropolitan Planning Commission's master plan goals as well as a goal-setting session with the Parks and Rec Commission will be on your future agendas as well. We'll probably attempt to schedule a joint planning session so you can spend a little bit of time focused on the Parks and Rec goals as well as the county's master plan. The Parks and Rec plan needs to be in place or adopted by next spring, I believe. So they'll be finalizing that work later on this year, but as part of that process, not only will they get input from the public, but they'll want input from the Board of Commissioners as well. The county's master plan, the intent is to try and get that adopted during 2016, and they have begun the planning process for that already. So they'll be bringing some information to you that will reflect input they've received from local units of government as well as the general public. The county's wetland permit for the area behind Day Treatment Night Watch, we have finally received the actual signed permit. That has taken way too long. But it's finally been approved and we have it in hand. The purchasing staff is already working on finalizing an RFP for the work that needs to be done out there this winter yet. And Jenny Posey has been working with the Sheriff's Office as well as Day Treatment Night Watch on what's going to be done out there, when it will be done, and some of the requirements that they may have. So that project will be underway very shortly. Also on the February agenda, in addition to beginning to talk about our goals, we expect to be presenting to you the final construction report on the convention center with all the final numbers. We've got, I believe, one check that we need to write yet. So once that's done, then we know that all of our financial commitments have been fulfilled, and then we can give you the final financial report for the convention center and share all of the numbers with you at that time. We also expect to come to you in February with a manning table adjustment for the equalization office. You remember that within the contract you approved for the director, he will become a part-time returning retiree. We need to create the position of a deputy director within the department, the individual that's in training for his level 4. We expect to be moving into that position. Greg will then further mentor him and work with him over the next year while he's finalizing all of his training and certification requirements. And hopefully, once he gets his certification, and Greg feels that he has a good grasp of everything that needs to be done, then Greg will step aside and this individual will take over at that point. So next month we'll be coming here talking to you a little bit about some of those manning table adjustments and I expect Mr. Hill will be here to explain some of them to you as well. Administration's working on a couple of reports that we'll be sharing with you. One of them is a report on the reforms that are occurring in the state of Michigan and the expected impact they will have on the county for indigent defense. It will include our costs, the planning process that's underway, some of the work that the courts have already done, along with the State Court Administrator's Office. So we'll be sharing that information with you as well. The airport director is working on a report, an annual report, trying to finalize all the numbers. She spent some time with Carrie today to look over where we are so far, look at some of the history, and make sure all the numbers balance out. As soon as the rest of the 2015 bills come in and receivables, they'll then finalize the report and it will be presented to the board. The other project that we're working on is some changes to the bylaws for the Central Dispatch Advisory Board. Those of you that are relatively new to the board, quite a few years ago, the county established a CDA or Central Dispatch Authority, and they went to the local units of government and tried to see if there was support to actually form an authority, and then all of the communities together would own this particular asset. There wasn't enough support for it, but unfortunately the structure of the authority, including the bylaws, remained in place and have done so for probably 8-10 years. Well, that large board requires all of our police chiefs, our fire chiefs, representatives from a lot of other disciplines to attend regular meetings. There's not a lot going on because, again, the authority was never formed. There's not this joint ownership of the system. While there is still a need for communications to coordinate what they're doing through programs like Clemis, which you're all aware of, as well as for some coordination of information, rules, protocols on dispatching, as well as access to lien information and lien reporting. It can be done so with a much smaller board. It can be done so in a much more efficient manner, rather than this large board that really legally never existed. So we are currently working on revising those bylaws, reducing the size of the board. There are some guidelines in state legislation on who sits on these boards, who advises the Board of Commissioners, as well as administration on issues related to things like lien, the lien system. So we'll be revising those. We'll get them to the Director of Central Dispatch to take a look at and make sure that we're moving in the right direction, and then we'll make sure that we get it out to all of you to begin looking at, marking up, commenting on, and hopefully return sometime very soon with a set of revised bylaws that we can then present in a more formal fashion.
Just a comment. We have the authority, as long as we meet the requirements of state law, on who's on that board.
Yes, you do.
My recommendation would be to have, once we decide and pick the members based on the state law, to let them write the bylaws and then submit them to us. That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any other.
You're saying take the 5 or the 5 mandatories?
Right.
Or whatever it is?
Right. And create that structure, make those appointments, and then one of the first charges they would have would be to develop their bylaws for running the communications system, rather than have us do it. But not that we can't do it or don't want to do it. It just, I think they're the people that have to live with those rules.
True. Yes, they will. They'll have to operate and
Yeah, they'll have to
advise you
operate.
in accordance with.
Right.
I would assume they would appreciate the help, though, to facilitate and get it. They will actually adopt it.
Well, they have the old rules existing,
Right.
the old bylaws, so they have a model if they need one. That's just my opinion.
Any other questions for the administration? Good report, thank you.
That's it.
Okay. Any miscellaneous business, gentlemen?
I was gonna move that we accept the administrator's report as presented.
That's a good motion.
Support.
That's a great second. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You just snuck that one through. All right, miscellaneous business. Awfully quiet.
There's one, I just got an email on the way here, Blue Water Women, Government Professional of the Year, Sherry Faust.
Yes.
From our health department,
From our health department.
environmental educator.
Yeah, pretty nice. It says there's gonna be, on February 19th, from 6 to 8 a.m., there's gonna be a award ceremony at McMorning.
Sherry was here not too long ago to address us, if you remember.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
talked
that's-
about the
that's pretty
Blue
nice.
Water, the Bell River watershed.
Oh, River Watershed.
Yeah, she's big on that, so.
Could I just add one more thing? I
Sure.
apologize. This is something that came in this afternoon. The Youth Readiness Summit, I believe you may have received an email on this as well. I got in touch with Mr. Friedland and asked if he'd mind that we present this tonight and let everyone in the audience know that if they're interested in registering their middle school or high school age student in this program, it is scheduled for February the 27th at the Landmark Academy from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. And if folks would like to learn a little bit more about the program, what will be presented, see about getting their kids involved in the Youth Readiness Summit, they can go to either the emergency management website, and they'll find a link, or they can go directly to youthreadinesscouncil.org. They'll find the registration information. They'll also find a flyer that explains what the program is all about and some other information that they may be interested in or their children may be interested in. That's it.
I have one question, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Do we need to do anything with agenda item 11A, EDA presentation? Do we need to table that or just let it die, or?
We probably should table that for a future meeting.
Want to make a motion to table it?
So moved.
Okay, motion to table the EDA presentation until sometime in the future.
I would second that.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody opposed? Motion carries. We will table that one. Anything else? Need to receive and file then.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to receive and file packets that were sent to commissioners and any other information presented.
Support.
Motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Adjournment?
So moved.
So moved. Support.
Motion and support. We are adjourned.
We hope you enjoyed this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your St. Clair County Commissioners broadcast these meetings on Comcast Local Access Channel 12 every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you have any questions on any part of this program, please feel free to contact your St. Clair County Board of Commissioners or staff. You can find their contact information, the meeting agenda, and videos of the meetings at www.stclaircounty.org.